Hello guys, welcome to the Train Parrot. We're gonna do an update on XRP Rebell. After this massive rally, it seems that Rebell now is ready for a retest of the breakout on the daily, and on the weekly time frame we are facing heavy resistance. We're gonna look into the levels that we need to defend to continue to the upside. We'll look into liquidity pools and into 3 different news. Guys, if you like this type of content, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Hit the notification bell to get notified every time I put out one of these videos. Can we get 1,000 likes in an XRP video on a Tuesday? That will be fantastic. And guys, if you're looking for an exchange to trade non-KYC, look no further than Bluffin. Bluffin is currently offering even a Rolex as a compensation for trading with them. You get 10% cashback and up to 3,000 Bitcoin futures bonus. That's only if you use the link in the description. By doing so as well, you are supporting the channel. So first of all, people are saying that I am bearish on XRP, that I hate XRP, and only one of those 2 things are true. I hate XRP, but I'm not bearish, and I never been. The fact that I don't trade it is part of my discipline. I say, once I get into big profits, I never touch that thing with a finger ever again. No matter how bullish it looks, I'm not gonna touch it. That's it. The proof is, if you go one video back in time, you're gonna find that I was calling for a head and shoulder, and I say that the technical target was to hit $1.5. That is where all this liquidity was positioned. But watch carefully the video, because I say that it's very likely at this time that we are about to get an altcoin season, that we actually fulfill the full target technical, and instead of that we should be looking for a liquidity hand. And I drew the line in here saying that we should be getting even into the highs of 2.7 again. I also made this extension calling for this bounce in here of 1.9 in the next video, saying that we can get into an extension of $3 or the golden pocket of 3.6, and 3.6 put a double top, equal highs, and a massive red candle in there. Perfect timing for putting a take profit order. So far, we are bouncing off the $3. That $3 was heavy resistance. It's a psychological level, and it's not just support from the point of view of the daily time frame. We are also finding support on the daily time frame RSI. You can see they're perfectly retesting. That is not something that we can say about other coins. If you compare my other altcoin videos, you're gonna see many of them breaking down everything. Of course, the most healthy support has been broken. This is the most bullish one, but we cannot really ask for more. Other coins have broken this support, and they are trading with an RSI around here. XRP is holding that level, and this is calling now for a potential continuation into a revenge rally that can still bring all-time highs. So let's pay attention, let's look into liquidation levels, and let's see what comes out. Let's look at those 25Xs that have opened new positions around here. We got the 10X, the 5X, and the 3X. So we have 2 clouds, one at 3.7 and one at $4.15. That's kind of the center of that area, but of course there will be more liquidity above that we are not being able to see. Below the price, we need to identify where is the risk. There is a decent amount of liquidity at 2.8, and if this was the beginning of an A, B, C wave, definitely the C wave can reach 2.77 or 2.5. 2.5 is around that level of support. A pinch intra-candle could breach that level and even get into 242, grab all that liquidity and come back above 2.5. That's where we should be seeing an ABC completed. Now, if we hold these levels of $3, which is the most bullish support, that will be fantastic, because at that doing so, we defend the retest of the daily and increases the chances of continuation in the shorter term. Now, let's go on the weekly and let's see how much we achieve. Relative to other coins, this is magnificent. Almost the same move that ADA did that I just recorded in the previous video. We got the double bottom, hitting the revenge rally by the dollar. Look at the 70, how we hit that hard, precisely calling that level, and you are still saying that I'm bearish. I say we can get into 70, and I even left a line in here that the most beautiful thing will be to reclaim that support, but we haven't done it, and we can still rally across the line on the way up. Of course, that is if we defend critical levels of support on the weekly. So let's look for those levels now in the price action. By the way, I forgot to mention my Fibonacci extension. So these extensions in here that I was talking about just now, that we managed to achieve the $3.6 thanks to this golden pocket, that is based on just this price action in here. But if we consider all this rally into $3.4 with the retracement into 1.6, the extension of 1 gives us 4.5, and it gives us $6.26. That is if we manage to get a golden pocket extension out of this rally. This rally, if this one that is just beginning was to continue, well, we can capture all the liquidity with the extension of 1, and we can enter price exploration on 6.26. Be aware of August and September. Expect psychologically a potential shake off from weak hands. That in terms of seasonality is very common in a topping year. That's why the best homework you can do now is to have an idea of what levels we want to defend. So for example, in here, we have already retest on the weekly as well, the $3. That was the highs in the weekly close, and we could be doing that again, that $3. If we lose that, defending the 2.7 will be the most bullish one. That was previous resistance before, and it still defends the larger double bottom formation here. Notice that the double bottom formation that I measure from here perfectly hit the target and slightly higher by a few dollars, a few cents. What we do not want to see in August or September, if we see any sort of bearishness in that period, is a breakdown below 2.4. At that point, we can say, okay, guys, we are in gray area in here. We completely wiped out all the progress that we did into the new highs. That is just gray area. We can still recover from that. Where we are going to see a lot of drama is if we lose 1.9. That has been my preferred level of support. The $2 with the 1.9 band of support is my preferred area to say that is the line in the sand. We have been as low as 1.6, but we have reclaimed the 1.9. So that is the level that can cause a complete catastrophe for XRP holders. I will expect tons of people in here entering expecting to go to $6 and seeing back sub $2 will be devastating for them. Longs, how many longs are there in here? We haven't reached yet the 69, but we have been as high at, we could say at the very highs, right? So we've been at 67 before, 66, 69, and now we've been at 64, very close to extremes. Now we are coming back and cooling down at 50. Areas of value probably are between 50 and 45 if we hold this line in here for the longs versus shorts. When it comes to social dominance, we reach 4.5% at the top band of the Bollinger Band. Recently, we reached 6% of total dominance. So definitely XRP is calling the attention of people. We need to see why is that. XRP accumulation plan boost hyperscale data stock to 12%. A listed company disclosed it began accumulating XRP as part of a 10 million treasury plan, with potential lockup and incremental institutional demand signal that can add steady buy pressure and validate XRP as a treasury asset. That is an 8 out of 10. Then we have a 7 out of 10. XRP price to $4 next. Most profitable phase likely here, says analyst. On-chain data shows well accumulation, 10 million to 100 million XRP cohort, and analysts flag a path towards $4 if key supports hold, an on-chain TA catalyst that can attract momentum traders. In a 6 out of 10, not as good as the other ones, XRP prints higher lows, tests 323 resistance with heavy volume, fresh higher lows structure, and surging volume near resistance point to short-term strength and a potential breakout trigger if 323 and 33 is reclaimed. At the moment, we are testing that 3 trading at 313 at the moment. And you can see on chain, we get a different picture coming from Crypto One. We have a taker sell dominant, which is common among all the other coins. But in this case, we also have the same reading coming from futures. So that CBD is heavily selling both on spot and on futures. That could be just a short-term thing while we are doing the retest, but as I always say with XRP, the sellers are almost as strong as all the XRP army are when they're buying. That means that they dump as hard as they buy. This retracement has been at 20%, following an upside at 93. Still very bullish in my opinion. We'll have to see now if those heavy sellers from futures and spot can form in here a cap and handle. That cap and handle breaking down could bring back the price into the 2.3. This is just TA. My analysis is completely unbiased. I don't like XRP, and still I'm gonna give you the targets to the upside and the downside. If you cannot see that, get yourself checked, but you know, I always make sure that my TA is unbiased. Let's look at the shorter term liquidation levels and let's call it. 2.1 and $2 are the most heaviest buckets of liquidity, and I'm hoping that XRP holders are not gonna have to face a drawdown back into $2 because that is gonna be just too painful. Thanks for watching this video. Remember to hit the like and write down a comment down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.